And welcome to Unit 1 Notes 1 with Mr. Hooper. I'm your news anchor for this evening, and we are going to learn how to solve multi-step equations. Now, there's 4 steps that will help you solve every equation. Number 1, simplify each side of the equal sign by distributing like terms. Number 2, gather the variables to one side of the equal sign. 3, use addition or subtraction to cancel the constant. 4, use multiplication or division to cancel the coefficient. So this would be an example where you pause the video, because you cannot possibly write down as fast as I was speaking there. I might be able to type that fast, but there's no way I can write that fast either. Alright, so write all 4 of these down, pause the video, make sure it happens. Make sure you understand a coefficient is a number with a variable. So those two are together. So coefficient is actually a number, but it's paired with a variable, like 7x or 6x. So, number 1, and the goal is to get the x alone and isolate it. One thing, first one is to combine like terms. These are like terms, so I would combine 1 plus 5 is 6x. Then you'd have minus 5 equals 1. I don't know that that's a very good x, but whatever. I like to write this plus 5. By doing that, I was always taught to circle this. Minus 5 plus 5 is 0. So this is actually 6, and this is 6x. Now 6x equals 6. The next step is to divide. So 6x is always 1. Not 6x. Remember, this is a multiplication, so the opposite of multiplying is dividing. So we did that correctly there. Notice I usually underline each step here, so I know what I was doing on each one, and whatever I did to one side, I did to the other. First, I added 5 on both sides. The second step, divide 6. All right, looking at this one. Myself, personally, I don't like negative, so I get rid of this negative 2x. Opposite of the negative 2 is adding 2. So I'd do this. I'd have 8x minus 11 equals 5. I would add the 11 to isolate the x on the left side. So I'd be up to 8x equals 16. Divide by 8, divide by 8, x equals 2. So these are just going to be friendly reminders. I like to cross the 8s out so that I know it's 1x left. Alright, we don't write 1x there, but you should know that it's 1x equals 2. Here I like to circle it so I know that they cancel out. Subtracting 11 and adding 11 goes to 0. So knowing what you're doing. 3 is a good one because we're going to distributing. It's called distributing when you do both of those. So negative 4 times x is going to be negative 4x. Negative 4 minus a 3 is this is one negative, this is another negative. So it's going to be plus 4 times 3 is 12 equals negative x. Here would be a chance to add 4x, then I like to add my columns up. This is 0 plus 12, or in other words, it's just 12. Equals negative 1. See how I put a 1 there? Negative 1 plus 4 is 3x. Divide by 3, 4 equals x. So things we have done. Make sure you see this negative 4x here. The coefficient there is negative 4 because it's paired with the variable x. And then we used addition or subtraction. The first step here was addition. The second step was division. All right, make sure you're looking for those. Going to this last one, we got this fraction in here. Now, I use this little trick. Nobody else in our math department uses this. This is technically 1 divided by 2 is equal to 1 over 2. So the opposite of dividing by 2 would be to multiply by 2. So I've been teaching kids to multiply everything here by 2. What happens when you do that? 2 times a negative 10 is a negative 20. 1 times 2 is 2. Divided by 2 is back to 1x plus 2x. Because 2 times this 1x is 2. So then we'd have negative 20 equals 3x divided by 3 divided by 3. Remember, I just combined those. Those are like terms. You can always combine like terms when they're on the same side of the equals. X here is equal to negative 20 over 3 is a good answer. Some people will write x is equal to negative 6.67 repeating. That's a good answer. Alright, we're not going to get picky about that stuff. Make sure you can get negative 20 over 3 at least. Next one, proportion. So these are going to be 2-8 ratios equal to each other. Usually these can be fractions. So fractions, alright, so they can be written as 2 with a semicolon to 3, or when they're fractions, they're written as 2 over 3. So those are your options there. Now, solving proportions is cross-multiplying, top on one side, bottom on the other. Set the cross products equal to each other, and then solve the resulting equation. What that means basically is you're going to have A over B would be one example is equal to C over D. That is going to result, when you cross multiply, into A times D is equal to B times C. And so no matter how that works, you need to know how to cross multiply. So let's try some examples. So what we're doing here is cross multiplying. I'm just going to do 15 times 8 equals 2 times x. 15 times 8 is 120 over 2x. Divide by 2, divide by 2. So I'm going to have 60 equals x. So remember, you're always multiplying and dividing these when you solve them. Moving forward, so I always go top to bottom. This is going to be 6 times 11 equals 3.27x. Remember, that's multiplying. So you're going to have 66 equal to 3.27x. Alright, so I wrote it 2 different ways here. These two are the same thing. Here's what I do here. I divide everything by 3.27. Divide by 3.27. That way I know this goes to 1, so I'm going to have 1x here equal to 66 divided by 3.7 is going to be 20.183. Now, in our classes, we're going to usually go to 2 decimal places. So when we look for answers in your final, we're going to list things with 2 decimal places. So it's approximately equal to that. But we should be able to tell us the answer that we want is this 1/8. So what that means is that 3 is less than 5, so we keep 8 the same when we round. So that's something you guys got to look for when you do these notes and things like that. This one's nice and tricky. So we have 3x equals 2, and now look what they did. They gave us x minus 2. So to do that, we already did this. We just distribute this 2 through. So 3x stays the same. 2 times x is 2x minus 2 times 2 is 4. So I would subtract 2x to get rid of that. Subtract 2x. This is a good one too, because 3 minus 2 is going to be that 1x equals this subtraction. That whole thing has to stay. So x is equal to negative 4. Make sure you're able to get that. Number 8, our favorite word problem. So we're just going to pick some things out. Your school is building a new computer lab. 400 square feet of the center will be available for computer station. Each station requires 20 square feet. So right there, we're talking about the number of stations. Alright? And so we need to know that's going to be our x. Write and solve an equation to find out how many computer stations can be placed in the lab. So always look for that write and solve, but I knew we were talking about each single station. Okay? So I know each station takes 20 square feet, so X's is square feet, or number of stations, and we have 400 square feet available. So then if I can write that equation, you should see this is just division, and we're dividing that out. So the part that's going to be tricky is knowing how to write the equation. Now the other part of it is it's a solve. So we solved 20 stations of 20 square feet fit in 400 square foot computer center. But it's a word problem, so we need a word answer. So you need to write, they can place 20 computers, stations. My handwriting's lovely. Yours should be slightly better. I'm doing this on a smartboard. Now, one other thing that'll help us write words into equations. So when I read that problem last time, it says how many, and it says things like that. So we need to know added to, increase, by, more than, some, addition to is addition, plus. Subtracted from, so you're going to minus those. 4 less than a number is a minus. So right here I should have done 5 increase by number. We're going to let x equal a number. 4 less than a number, that one's a little tricky. It's going to be x minus 4 in that order. Multiplied by, so we have this multiplied. We kind of have 2 symbols here that you could use, right? 5 times, so 5 times the sum of 9 and a number. Okay. Quotient divided by, that's the straight division. 1 symbol for that. Remember, those are fractions too. So twice, and then it says the sum of a number and 8, so x plus 8 divided by 3. So we're thinking everything's got to be divided by 3 at the end. Squared is also 2 to the second. So that should help you, because then cube should be 2 to the third. So that is going to look like x squared and x cubed. So then these ones, 4 less than the square of the number, is going to be x squared and then 4 less than. Remember, that looks like the one above. Twice a number decreased by the cube of the same number. And then I would say twice, so this is a 2x, decreased by the cube of that number. So the number is x. So then this is nth power, so we'll just write x to the nth, and then we have an equal sign. Is always equals. So we always put an equals here. So then we have length is twice the width. So that's how that's going to work. So then just a few more, 9 through 14 here. The sum of a number and 16. So x and 16 is equal to 32. The product of 16 and a number is equal to 2. So the product is multiplication is 32. Notice that all these have a difference. Quotient of a number and 16. So I would write that number quotient 16 is division equal to 32. The fourth power of a number. So x to the fourth is equal to 16. And last but not least, the difference of a number. So x, 16, difference is subtract, is equal to 32. So one last one. 14, a rock climbing gym charges non-members $16 per day to use the gym and $8 for equipment rental. Members pay a yearly fee of $4.50 for unlimited climbing and $6 per day, so they get $2 off per day for equipment. Write and solve an equation. Find out how many times you must use the gym to justify becoming a member. So we're looking at the number of times we go to the gym, or the number of days, because they charge per day here. So we're going to say let x equal number of days. Okay. So each time I go as a non-member, it's going to be 16 to climb, and then plus another $8 for equipment rental. Now, if I don't join the gym, or if I do join the gym, it's $6 for equipment, but then it's additional $450 right away up front. Why this is helpful is 16 and 8 is 24x equals 6x plus 450. Okay, so I got to combine the 16 and 8 because they were on the same side as the equals. Now I got to move the x to the left. All right, cross that off. 24 minus 6 is 18x equals 450. Now I divide by 18. Divide by 18. X equals, that becomes a 1. And that is 25. So, how many times you must use the gym to justify? You must use the gym at least 25. Because if I use it 26, I actually saved money. So if I only use it 24, I lose a little bit. Okay, so that's the notes video. Okay, that's about as fast as I personally can cover all that material. Excuse me. So what you want to do is you got to find spots to pause it. You got to figure out what works for you, and you have to become good at picking up things that I don't necessarily write down. I know that from personal experience that I say things like squared and cubed, and you guys got to pick up that verbiage in that language. Thanks for listening. Work on your practice sheet, and make sure you're self-advocating for yourself when you need help. Thanks, you